morning.
Oh, maybe the breakfast table. Maybe.
Hey folks, it's Penny with Coppertree Acres. Welcome back. If it's your first time here, we're a 4-acre small pecan farm. We grow organic vegetables, raise free-range chickens, and have 3 small farm dogs. And today we're going to be doing some processing, cleaning, and just getting ready for packing on our pecan harvest. So we've just recently done our first ever season pecan harvesting. Super excited about that. We have 56 pecan trees. It was quite the chore getting that all cleaned up. We had family come out. You guys are going to check out some of that footage in our other videos on our pecan update playlist if you're interested. And today we're going to be doing a lot of sanitizing, getting rid of any bacteria and fungus, and washing and drying the pecans and getting them ready for packing. We're going to pack whole pecans, so it'll be whole in-shell pecans, and we're going to be selling them in 2-pound packs. We are working on our shipping right now, so we're not positive that we're going to be able to ship at an affordable rate, and we're working on that right now because we're a small grower, so we don't have a massive harvest in its first year. We're not quite sure how many pounds we have yet. We're going to be weighing these as we go through the processing of everything. It'll be just Suzanne and I getting all of the processing done because Ben and Ben Sr. are going to be working on getting the well done. We've got some well issues and some things that need to be taken care of so that we can get our irrigation going for the market farming and market gardening we're going to be doing this next season in spring, which we'll do a bunch of coverage on if you want to stay tuned for that. So today is going to be pretty exciting because we're going to be getting dressed in our lab suits, getting prepared so that we can use the disinfecting solution, which is just basically a chlorine solution, a very mild, just enough to kill off any pathogens, anything we need to kill off on the exterior of the pecan shell. It doesn't affect the pecan kernel inside. And then a process of cleaning it. It's real scientific. Not here on this farm, but the thing that is great about just doing it this way and washing and not going through, or heating the pecans like a lot of the major growers do, is that kind of makes the pecan a darker color, and it's killing off some of those healthy oils that are in the pecans. And we want to keep those healthy natural oils. That's part of the flavor of the pecan. We don't spray any fungicides or pesticides on our trees or the ground out here. We will never do that in our gardening. Our gardening is going to be strictly organic, and our gardening that we do right now is strictly organic. So we want to try to go about that as best as possible. So this is part of that process of just getting them cleaned up so they're ready to rock and roll, and there's no issues with anything with the pecans. Stay tuned. Doesn't look like much now, but just you wait. This is just dirt. It's been sitting and it looks really grody right now, but soon to be nice and cleaned up. It's just been left outside. And then these perfect baskets fit right inside for washing the pecans. Get it off the little cart here, clean it up, and show you what it's all about. So we got the tub pretty much clean. We've got to put the new plug in it. And now we're going to modify these baskets to work as our little wash basket by cutting the chicken wire here and adding that in because we've got these gaps. But these were baskets that Director D had at her house that they brought over just along with the bathtub, and now we're modifying these baskets to work in our favor here in our handy dandy specialty lab gear. I gotta get my rubber boots on. This is going to be our basin for the chlorine, the diluted chlorine sanitation water, and then we're going to do a rinse before on the pecans and a rinse after. And then we're going to lay them out on mesh tarps and we'll get to it. We are suited and booted. And here is all the product. We have to wash. So these are from each individual tree. We did that for a reason. Again, we had mentioned this in our other video, but we saved our bags throughout the year to recycle them for this use, to where we could label them with each tree and show the amount for each tree and weigh each tree's amount that they produce so that we can better check on the health of the tree through the years, see how the nuts are producing each year and how much, and if we get better yields as we continue to increase our efforts in the fertilization, organic fertilizer, and just the care for the trees in general. Anywhere from 15 to 20 years old, so they are mature trees. So as you can see, they've produced a decent amount of pecans. We don't know how many pounds we have just yet, but we're going to find out today. So we'll have to take out any that are like this, that birds have eaten at, and obviously all our debris. Make sure any ones get obviously separated from the holes that need to be, and any that are stuck in a hole that are not any good. These are duds.
We are preparing the baptism already. Whoever wants to give themselves to God.
Yes, we are preparing it.
Anointing it with the oils, the
and
natural
the oils
from
of
the
the
pecans.
pecans. Yes, the pecans are going to get baptized in a moment here. Truly.
Praying in Jesus' name as it fills.
Truly. So that they are healthy for everyone. We'll be praying over them. That's what we do. Ah, nice, relaxing bath. See, pecans, we love you. We're going to take good care of you. So we're going to start with the process of doing a pre-rinse of fresh water on the pecans. Go for it, Suzanne. Shoot. Right. Just going to rinse them down, get any dirt off, any debris, any dirt that's stuck to any of them initially. And that way when they go through the chlorine rinse, they're not dirtying up the water as quickly or anything like that. So it's going to lift everything, pre-soak them basically. We're going to see if these baskets work. We're putting them to the test now. Some of the ends, we may have to just put something along the very bottom just to keep them from falling through the cracks there in the very bottom row. Alright, so perfect. We don't want them too high to go over, so we don't want the water too high. Agitate now. So this side is starting to dry a bit, but the ground is wet underneath it. So we're gonna shove it to that side where the ground is dry, because the top has already started to dry on the pecans, but we want them to dry as quick as possible so we can keep changing them out. We've got a bunch of these tarps that are mesh tarps with where the air flows through. So we're just gonna lay a bunch out and keep going with it. I'm determined to have some casualties. Stepping on nuts. The nut casualties. I don't know if it's like this where you guys are, but the wind here is so unpredictable. You just never know when you're going to get it, how long it's going to last, how brutal it's going to be, and which direction it's going to come from. I mean, we have our general direction the wind blows in, but it helps everything dry out really quick. Sir, please step on the scale. You are 12.4 pounds, 60% body fat, and 40% lean mass. What do you have to say for yourself? Just a joke from my former days as a fitness trainer. Using a regular scale because we must. We do not have a typical scale that you would use for something that has to do with food. We have a tiny food scale in the kitchen. So we just want to get a rough estimate of what each of the trees yielded this year. The really big bulk amounts for the trees, I kind of stand on the scale first and then hold the weight of, and just, subtract my weight from it. So that's how we're being so technical this year. Number 14 gave us 13 pounds. Number 50 gave us 22 pounds this year.
Yeah, this would have got the midnight.
This is like it says, like ladies sitting around shelling the beans. You call it shelling the beans? Shucking the beans, cleaning the beans.
So we could have gotten another bag that didn't have to be cleaned.
So, Suzanne, how have you been lately?
I am blessed.
Right on. Always, huh?
Yes.
The Lord God is good all the time. So we're just, taking care of business here. We got quite a few duds in this little group, so we're just going through and tossing them out. So the former owner of this property was the one who cultivated the trees, put them in, and he lived here for over 20 years and put all these trees in 20 years ago, 15 years, some of them 15. And so they're all mature, but they kind of went, like I said, for 2 years without really very much care, or the proper care. So they're 10 more. Watch out below.
I'm still.
All right. Unload down. All right, ready to put this one in?
Yes.
Oh, look who decided to show up and help. Just kidding. He's been working on the well all day. Hey babe, how's it going?
Going good. How you doing?
Good. We're just getting our system down.
Nice. How's it working?
It's going pretty good. Slowly but surely.
Oh, you watching them talk?
They're smaller, so they're kind of fitted through more of us. That's okay. As long as we get the majority, we can stick out the others. How's it going?
It's going. How's it going with
Is it
you?
going good on the well?
Yeah.
Careful, there's Clorox in there.
Yeah.
It's gonna bleach your shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, I
watch
wasn't
out.
gonna jump in there.
We'll just take it out and then we'll
Seemed a lot faster.
right. Making us a new modified basket with some screen material. That'll help us out with the smaller pecans.
We had to take the screens off the windows in order to find screens.
Yeah, this is an older window
Well, you
screen.
can say that on camera, but reality.
we turned to desperate measures.
And it's always nice to see somebody work for a change.
Looks good, babe. So these are one of our favorite pecans on the property. They're really round and kind of squatty, but they have the best flavor. Such good flavor. We think they're a type of Elliott pecan, but these are really good.
Want to give it a try?
Yeah, we'll try it out with these. Sure, that looks awesome, babe.
Good job.
Pencil, what are you doing? What are you doing, buddy?
No water pressure, that's good enough.
It's fine. We're just rinsing them.
Oh. I know what you're talking about now.
Now we can do that.
All right. Careful.
Packing it up till tomorrow. Yeah, we got our system down and we'll be able to make it happen tomorrow. It's the end of day one and we pulled the rest of the pecans that were still drying into the garage so they could continue drying under a fan until the next morning. Hey folks, it's day two of our pecan processing and washing. And as you can see, we have pecans all over the place. Anyway, they're sun bathing right now after being cleansed, sun dried pecans, I guess you could say. So they're doing great. We're going to be loading these up in their own tote, and that'll be the clean group. And then we started on another group back here. We're doing a bunch of weighing the bags right now. We're going to be processing. The thing that holds us up the most is having to separate any debris, so any holes that are left within the group or little twigs and things like that. That takes our time up a lot more than just washing them. The washing process hasn't taken us too much time. So we're just getting as much done as we can because today we're supposed to have some wind later and we want to be able to get as much done as possible before we put them away. So let's get to it. the holes and debris. This side was lots of holes and debris. All right, so there were all those bags there. We've now dwindled that part quite a bit. All of the smaller bags that had just a little bit in them, miscellaneous, wanted to get those weighed out of the way. Now we're on to the bigger bulk of it. I'm going to use these totes because they have, you know, lots of ventilation as our storage totes initially for anything that we have to pack up today after it's dry enough. That way there's airflow and ventilation for any kind of moisture that might be remaining. Now, I'm just gonna get going on taking any of these out. So like this batch is really small. Tree 19, you did poorly this year. Tree 33 did decent. Not great, but decent. So I'm going to use up all these first and clean these first. So I have these totes to clean out and use for storage. And tree 34. Okay. We'll go from here. What you doing, Clover? More shelling discussion around the pecan table. No, it's mine. No, it's mine. No, it's mine. Sorry. Is that a part of my glove? Kind of have an air dryer, drying them quicker. Suzanne and I are taking a much needed break from the wind outside. Oh my gosh, it is so windy today. And it's like it's blowing our lovely slickers like over our heads, and then also she's standing out there and all of a sudden this big dust storm just blows like right where she's standing. That's it. It was nowhere else, just right where she's standing. So not the best day to be working outside, but we're enduring it. We're sticking with it. Now the camera.
Wow, that is big.
That's heavy.
I don't know about this one.
Beautiful, clean, pristine pile of pecans. Sun-dried pecans at that.
I'm trying to get away.
Oh,
And see here when I saw them spread out, I'm like, I just was back there.
yeah, it didn't seem like it, but it is. We're removing the tarp up to drier ground for these pecans to finish while we add another tarp to that damp area, and Suzanne unfortunately took a fall.
One of these days. The winds in California, the Anaheim winds.
Santa Ana.
Or yeah, Santa Ana winds. So what should we call these ones?
That's not right. I would say we could call them
Copper winds?
southeastern winds, tombstone winds.
There you go.
This is basically what we produced this past weekend. These are totally ready to go. We've got 3 crates here and this big one here. We still have all of this, which I'll show you in a minute. We did most of our really small trees. So we had a bunch of just really small bags that I would weigh and keep track of, and I'm talking like 1.5 pounds, where trees just did not produce very much at all. And then we had a couple bags we did that were large bags. So we just combined all of those once. I had weighed them and sifted, and we went through, we just combined them, washed them, because we were done with that process of keeping track. That being said, remember there's a couple things like pecan trees are biennial, if you didn't already know, which means basically they can only produce every other year, so every 2 years basically. That does not mean, however, that they don't produce anything. So it could have been the off year for a lot of these smaller trees where they just weren't going to produce, and they just produce a little. So often trees that it's their year to not produce much, that's what they do. And then you might have a year with a tree that's like a bumper crop and they just do amazing. They give you a really good yield. I wanted to get all those small ones out of the way on this first wave. We did do a couple of our trees that produced really well as well within this group. The grand total of what we washed this past weekend and cleaned was 160 pounds, about 15 trees. Like I said, I wanted to get all the small ones out of the way first. For the most part, the rest of the trees produced either a decent amount or a really good amount. And on top of that, keep in mind that this property had been left vacant the 2 years prior to us moving in. So before we took over the property, it had been just taken care of by neighbors and friends and stuff, and they did a great job. But, you know, it's not going to have the same, you know, care and nurturing as it would if the former owner was here or if we had taken over sooner. So this was the first year that we were really getting the trees back on their feet. So we'll see what next year brings. I kept track on my sheet, as you saw in the video, of what each tree produced, and that was my goal with all these bags, that we kept track of each of the trees and, you know, really were mindful when we were out there gathering all of the pecans and harvesting and such. You know, we really kept track of trying to keep them all separated. There were a couple trees that are super close together. Our largest trees that we went ahead and put them all in the same tote and didn't worry about it and labeled it the 2 different trees because they produced the same kind of pecan and they produced around the same amount. So we just combined those initially, and we're going to take a total weight of those 2. Also, remember, we have a variety of pecans. So with that, because we have so many varieties, it's not really easy just to wash up and say, okay, we're going to bag up and sell these bags, because we have such different sizes, and we've got larger ones and small ones that are like the briquettes that, you know, we want to be able to create bags that have as much of an assortment of what we have as possible. I just think that's going to make for a really nice experience for the customer. And that's just what we really want to do. So I can't start really packaging these up just yet. We're learning our process this time. And then also we had all those, you know, additional elements thrown into play. So again, this is all we got done this past weekend, but it was all done precisely, and as you saw, laid out nice and neat, and it had a chance to dry, and we'll see what happens with this next batch. I am trying to create right now a method to sift the holes, the broken holes and debris out, but that is basically it in a nutshell for this episode of Pecan Update and our processing and washing process. Join us next time. We'll be doing this again. We'll have another update probably in a couple weeks at the most, but in the meantime, I have a bunch of seed starting that I'm doing for the market garden season. I'll be putting up the rest of our seed starting room setup. I'll be putting that video out shortly. Hope you guys are doing well, and until next time, take care and be safe out there. Bye-bye.